Welcome back. Today we're going to be continuing our discussion about the functions unit. We're going to do so by talking about domain and range. Let's go ahead and take a look at that right now. Taking a look at a key term we have there, relations show a connection between x and y values. So now let's take a look at that connection by looking at vocabulary terms about domain and range. So here we've got a table that has number of people and number of pets. And we've got some vocabulary terms that we're going to fill in, the definition of domain, the definition of range, and we're going to identify them in this relation. So first, let's put in the things that we know. So we know that the number of people is going to be the input, and we have that as an x value, right? The x value is on the left-hand side. On the other side, we have the output, also the y values there represented in the table. So those things we already know. Now let's expand our definition by talking about the domain. The domain is going to be the set of all x values, so all of the numbers in the set. And you can see here that they're listed 1, 3, 4, 5. So there's a couple important things to know. So if I'm looking at my table, do these numbers match? 1, yep, I've got it. 3, yep, I've got it. 4, yep, I've got it. And 5, yes, I have it. So as you can see, I only write down each number in the set one time. Granted, in my table, I have 2 4s, but I only write it down one time because we're just asking for the set of data. So we're just asking what numbers are there, not how many numbers are there of each thing. So since we see a 4, yep, we include it, but we don't need to write it twice because we already know that there's a 4 that's going to be in this set of data. Also important, we need to make sure that we use these braces when we're showing our data. Okay, so we always want to make sure that we write our data in order from least to greatest and that we surround it with these braces. Now let's take a look at the range. The range is going to be the set of all y values. And again, you write the numbers in order from least to greatest. And again, I've put the braces around the outside. So again, the domain is the set of all the x values. The range is the set of all y values. Now let's practice with example A. So taking a look at example A, we've got a table there that talks about inches of snow and number of snow days. So we need to figure out which one is our input, which one is our output, so we know which one is our x and which one is our y. So we can see that the inches of snow is going to affect the number of snow days, not the number of snow days affecting how many inches it snows. So in that case, our inches of snows is going to be our x, and our number of snow days is going to be our y. So now that we know that, we can fill in our domain of the relation and the range of the relation. So we got to list all of the x values, and again, we're going to write them in order from least to greatest. So I see that 3 is my value that is my least. The next value I have is 8. The next value I have is 15, and although I have 2 15s, I'm only going to write it one time. And then my last number is 21. And you can see that I've surrounded that in the braces. Now I need to do the same thing to the range. So again, I'm going to write them in order from least to greatest. So 0, okay, check, got that one. The next number is 2, got that one. 3, got that one. And finally, 4 and 7. So I got each of those, and again, each of those were an individual number, so I wrote each of them one time in order from least to greatest, and I surrounded them with the braces. Now let's take a look at example B. So here we are at example B, and again, it wants us to find the domain and range of this graph. Now, we have some points on there already, so it's going to be a little more challenging for us to find our domain and range. But what we're going to do, since we're going to be starting with our domain, is we're going to go along the x-axis. Remember, the x-axis moves horizontally, and we're going to be looking for numbers along our x-axis to write down as our domain. So we see here that we've got at 0.5, we've got 1 point here, 1 point here. Again, we're only going to write them one time. We see another point at 1, we see another point at 2, we see another point at 3, we see another point at 6. Even though there are 2 points, we're only going to write it one time, and we see a point at 8. So again, we're going to take our braces, we're going to write each of those numbers in order from least to greatest. So again, 0.5, 1, 2, 3, 6, and 8. We've written each number only one time. Now we're going to go along our y-axis. Remember, our y-axis is the vertical axis, so we're going to be going up and down. And again, we're going to be looking for numbers that are there on our lines. So we can see that there's one number here at 5. It's this one. We've got 2 of them actually at 5, but we're only going to write them one time. We see 1 at 10. We see 1 at 20. We see 2 at 30. we see 1 at 50, and we see 1 at 80. So again, now we're going to write these down using our braces, and we've got 5, 10, 20, 30, 50, and 80 all inside the braces, written in order from least to greatest. Now let's take a look at example C. So here in example C, they are asking us a question and we need to answer them. So they're asking the questions, which table has a domain of -2, 0, 4, and 5, and which table has a range of 3 and 4. So let's start by figuring out which table has the correct domain of -2, 0, 4, and 5. So we're going to go along our X and see if we see those numbers. So on our first table, letter A, we've got -1. So that's not part of our domain, so we can pretty much label a not here because that -1 is not going to work. Not the correct answer. Now let's take a look at table B. We've got -2. Yeah, that works. 0, that works. Yeah. 4 and 5, those all work. Let's just make sure that there isn't any other table that would match up. So C, -1, 2, 3, 5. No, we got a 3 in there and a -1. That's not going to work. And table D, -1, -1, 2, and 3. That's not going to work either. So it looks like the answer is table B. Now let's take a look at finding the range. So it says the range of 3, 4. So let's take a look at our first table. So we've got 3 and 4. All right, we're on the right track, but no, it also has 5s, and 5 is not part of the range that they are asking for, so table A is out. Table B, -1, okay, no, those aren't numbers that we're looking for, so table B, that is out. Table 3, we've got a 4 and we've got a 3, so things are looking up, but oh no, -1 and 2 are not what we're looking for. And the last one, we've got a 3, a 3, a 4, and a 4. We are looking for that one, for table D is our correct answer. Now let's take a look at example D. Here we are in example D, and it says select all the sets of numbers where all the members of the set are members of the domain. So that's very tricky the way that they've worded that, but what they're essentially asking us to do is they've got a line on the graph that goes between 2 and 8. Okay, so as we can see here, because we're talking about domain, we're talking about X, our graph is going to go between, we've got a dot here at 2, and we've got a dot here at 8. So we are going to look for numbers that fall between 2 and 8. So any number that falls between 2 and 8 is going to be part of the domain, and any number that falls outside of 2 or 8 is not going to be part of the domain. So we've got our first set there, 3, 5, and 6. So is 3 between 2 and 8? It is. Is 5 between 2 and 8? It is. Is 6 between 2 and 8? It is. So since all 3 of those do, that is a correct answer. Now, does 1 fall between 2 and 8? No. Does 5 fall between 2 and 8? Yes. Does 10 fall between 2 and 8? No. So unfortunately, we've got 2 answers that are wrong there, so that one does not work. Our next one, we've got 2.5. That does fall between 2 and 8. 4 does fall between 2 and 8. 7 falls between 2 and 8, so that answer is correct. Does 8 fall between 2 and 8? Yes. But does 9? No. 10? No. Unfortunately, that is a wrong answer. 0? No. 1? No. 2? Yes. But unfortunately, only one right answer is not enough answers here, so that is incorrect as well. Now let's take a look at the last example. Here we are at example E, and it says select all the sets of numbers where all the members of the set are members of the range. So this time we're going to be talking about the Y. And although they worded that tricky, we still know what they mean. We've got a number line here, or we've got a graph here where the numbers are ranging between 1 and 8. So we're looking for numbers that fall between 1 and 8 to determine if we've got the correct range. So let's take a look at our first example here. Does 3 fall between 1 and 8? Yes. 4 between 1 and 8? Yes. 5 between 1 and 8? Yes. So that is a correct answer. 1 between 5 and 8? Yes. 2, 5 between 1 and 8? Yes. 2 between 1 and 8? Yes. 3 between 1 and 8? Yes. That is correct. 2.5? Yes. 4? Yes. 7? Yes. That is correct. 8, yes. 9, oh no. 10, oh no. So that is not correct. 0, no. 1, yes. 2, yes. But unfortunately the 0 does not. So this is not a correct answer. So as you can see, we selected only sets where every number fell between 1 and 8 because that was the line on the graph. Every number needs to fall and meet that criteria. Otherwise, the entire set does not count. That brings us to the end of this set of notes, brings us to the end of this video. If you like this video, go ahead and throw us a thumbs up. If you love this video, go ahead and throw us a sub, and we will catch you in the next one.
in motion.